Hey, Tristan. Hours ago, Russia freed WNBA star Brittney Griner in a prison swap with the US, releasing a Russian arms dealer, Victor Bout. I believe that was the guy who Gods of War, the movie Gods of War with Nicolas Cage was about. So, what do I think about Brittney Griner being released? I think that Russia have proven, once again, that they are smarter than the United States. Brittney Griner is a criminal. She carried marijuana, enough to distribute, who cares if she was going to smoke it all herself, into Russia, which has very strict drug smuggling laws. I'm here in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and you hear stories out here. Oh, this guy was caught with just one bag of coke, and he did 6 years. You hear stories like this in Thailand, where I used to live. I heard of an Australian DJ, young kid. He was, I think all the politicians got involved. He was found with 70 ecstasy pills, and they gave him 1 year in jail for every pill. Now, people love to cry when stuff like this happens. There have been people crying about Brittney Griner this entire time. To which I say, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. You have to understand that it is a unique form of arrogance to believe that every country has the exact same rules, moral standards as you do in your country. To think, oh, I play basketball and I love smoking weed. I'm just going to bring some weed to Russia. It's just weed. The Russians don't see it that way. The Thais don't see it that way. The Arabs do not see it that way. I would have been perfectly happy for that woman to stay in jail for the rest of her natural life, or however long the Russians see fit, because it is none of America's business how Russia conducts its criminal justice system. I don't care if she was an American citizen. And if a friend of mine was in Russia smoking weed and got locked up for 10 years, I'd be the first one on this stream saying, my friend, this guy who I associate with, is actually a dumbass. So, I hear all the bad stories all the time of the UAE or Thailand, and people say, oh, it's unfair how they treat people. If you know the laws of a country do not permit your behavior that you do back home, then do not go to said country. Snoop Dogg. Shout out to Snoop Dogg. Because I know people here in the UAE who are talking about bringing him here for concerts and appearances. And Snoop Dogg quite rightfully said, listen, man, I gotta smoke, man. I can't come. Gotta smoke. Need my weed. That's my Snoop Dogg impression. You can rate my Snoop Dogg impression in the comments section out of 10. And he said, no, I'm not coming because I like to smoke my marijuana. Bravo, Snoop Dogg. Because he's obviously an intelligent man. Because you know what a dumb man would have done? Yeah, sure, I'll come to the UAE, give me my paycheck. If I just brings one bag of weed, they won't mind. And he would have ended up in a Middle Eastern jail for 20 years. And dumb people, would have been like, oh, poor Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's got a brain. Snoop Dogg was like, no, I'm not going to these countries where I can't smoke my marijuana. I like my marijuana. And fine by them. I would happily go to a country where you couldn't smoke cigars or drink alcohol. If that was the rules of the country, I'd go and visit and I'd lay off the booze and I wouldn't smoke a single cigar and I'd leave and do my stuff back home. So what do I actually think about this woman? I think that Russia got a fucking whale of a deal by getting back their dangerous arms dealer, and we got back some idiot who can't resist weed so much that she bought a bunch on a plane to Russia. So, well done to Russia. That's all I can say. Enjoy your arms dealer back. Oh, don't worry, we have a WNBA star. As though anyone watches the WNBA anyway. Who knew who Brittney Griner was before this happened? Yeah, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. So, shame on the United States. When there are still people like Joe Exotic in jail and we're doing deals for Russian arm dealers to release, a woman who clearly violated a foreign country's drug laws. I think that's a